this article up here. I know it came out last week, I believe, but I mean, speaks volumes. I'll say that. It speaks volumes. Daredevil hits reset button as Marvel overhauls its TV business. So I talked to you a little about this yesterday. I sent you the link. I'm assuming you did read it.
I did.
So yeah, what was your what were your thoughts on the article, sir?
Well, my first thought is no shit. As far as like, oh, we're gonna have to reevaluate. My second thought is the only show that they actually like debuted on Disney Plus that you can convince me was a miniseries. It was a limited run miniseries by design. Is WandaVision.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the others were clearly designed to be season ones.
Yes, they were.
And they called them limited series when they realized, oh, the numbers aren't coming in, so we can't be like, oh, we canceled it. We'll just call it something else now. I'm pretty sure they did something similar in comics a few years back.
Yes, bingo.
As far as we need more serialized stuff, and we need it to be able to stand on its own. Again, no shit. Like,
yeah, like tell us something we already don't know.
And the biggest surprise, honestly, of this article is, I mean, it's still being, a little safe, but they aren't kissing Disney's ass anymore.
No, they're not.
I feel like Disney doesn't have the money to pay the shills. They're running low on that kind of cash.
Yeah.
That's kind of my take, at least in broad strokes.
No.
What about yours?
No, yeah, like I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head, right? I mean, this is what we've pretty much been deducing, from Jump Street. And it's funny that, looking back, the only show that got a season 2 is Loki. That's the only Marvel released show currently that has a season 2. And like you said, when they found out or when they saw that these shows weren't pulling in the numbers, then it turns into a limited series.
Yeah, that's like the one big concession I feel that this article makes to Disney.
Yeah.
Is that they're willing to let Disney labor under the delusion that these were limited series by design.
Correct.
It's like, again, with the exception of WandaVision, I don't believe you. WandaVision, I'll grant. The rest, no. They clearly wanted them to be long-running series that tied into the MCU. This thing about we need to make sure that they need to be able to stand on their own and not just be platforms for the next Avengers
Marvel
thing.
product, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, everyone with 2 functioning brain cells has been saying that since day one.
Yeah. Because it's like it's become confusing and unnecessary because not a lot of people want to watch the shows. Like there were no shows, phases 1 through 3. Like they were movies and they were done relatively well, which led up to its conclusion, that to let up to Endgame. There were no shows in between. And I feel like the shows, when you just pump out these shows, then people have to go back and watch these shows to even know what the hell is going on when it comes to the movie. Case in point, the Marvels, right? I think that's dropping next month, unfortunately. But like Monica Rambeau's character, you're not going to know about her unless you watched WandaVision. Then you got Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. You're not going to know about her unless you watched her TV show. And then you're not going to know about Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, unless you seen her movie. So like, what you probably had, because it was sandwiched between the Infinity War and Endgame, but the other two, you're not gonna have any idea who the hell these people are if you're a normie just going in looking to watch the show.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was gonna say. I'm like, they know who Captain Marvel is
Yeah,
because they they marketed that movie as though it was compulsory reading, essentially, for compulsory viewing for Endgame.
yeah.
And really, it was only compulsory viewing in the sense that who's this bitch saving Tony? Literally, aside from that one scene, in which case all you really needed was the trailer. Oh, this is Captain Marvel. Okay. All you really needed was the trailer to understand. Okay, this is who that bitch was.
Yeah.
And I feel like Agents of Shield was almost proto Disney Plus. Like it was almost done right. Um, I gave up on it after a while because they kind of jumped the shark. But for the most part, except for a couple nods to the MCU, it more or less stood on its own.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
when Agents of Shield, first dropped, I thought it was pretty good. The first few seasons I was like on board with, and then it did take a dive eventually, but I know it did well when it came to the battle in New York, like that whole transition and them commenting on that in the show. I thought they did well when it came to that event, unlike what Marvel's doing when it comes to certain things. What's going on with their Disney Marvel when it comes to their situation and leading up to movies and things like that. It just becomes very convoluted.
honestly, I feel like they overcorrected with Agents of Shield because the only real complaint I had from a world building perspective was I almost wish that there were a few more ties to the movies other than wink wink nudge nudge.
Yeah.
Or rather, I wish, like, I don't want them to be compulsory viewing, but I don't know, have Fury be like, oh, this, in a movie, an episode that had just aired recently, they could have had Fury say, oh, I have a team working on this, the situation in random McLand.
Yeah.
Uh, like, and that's all. Like, they don't actually need to affect anything. It's just enough. Um, Kind of like how Joss Whedon tied together Buffy and Angel. Um, Maybe a little looser, but enough to show that they were always in the same universe
I know what you mean.
without them, without literally just being a vehicle. Like, okay, I think this is the best way to articulate it. Agents of Shield existed because the MCU did well. The the Disney Plus shows exist to push next Disney product.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense, or was I just rambling for however
No,
long?
no, it does. It does. Yeah, it does. Most definitely. So what do you think about like the whole reshoots or the whole scrapping of Daredevil? Like they
I'm a
a lot-
little confused. Like, did they scrap those 8 episodes, or are they keeping those 8 episodes
so
and moving forward? They're just like, no.
I wish they would scrap those 8 episodes, to be honest. But from reading the article, by the way, we'll put the article in the description box below. But by reading the article, it seems like they may be keeping certain scenes or certain episodes, which they should completely I mean, if you're gonna let go and fire the writers and the directors, like you should probably just start from scratch. Like just get rid of it all. Like there's no reason why Daredevil should finally get into his costume, get into his suit on episode 4. Like what the fuck is that?
And
What is even in like what is that?
it doesn't, especially doesn't work because we've seen, we've most likely you've most likely seen Netflix Daredevil,
Yeah,
and at least a handful of people have seen She-Hulk
yeah,
because the main reason people watched that show was for Daredevil. Let's be honest. That's why they teased it like 3 episodes before he actually showed up. Um, which means you already know he has his costume, which means there's no justification for him not wearing his costume.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I was not on board with that. There were also rumors from what I've heard that they were planning on killing Foggy off screen.
No, don't do
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying that those weren't rumors, but no, don't
Yeah,
do that.
no. Yeah, exactly. What do you think? Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And
um,
it looks like they're not bringing Karen Page back either. Like, it's
so it's even more tenuous. The connections are even more tenuous than we believed when we first started. We were first scared. Okay, so it's gonna be
yes,
even worse than we thought.
correct. I mean, I had a problem with it when it was called Daredevil Born Again because that whole storyline was done in the Netflix adaptation in season 3. Like, that was Daredevil, that was that run, Daredevil Born Again. So, like, it seemed like to me that Disney Marvel said, "Oh, we're going to do it better." Like, that's the sense that I got when they took that title. But now, so essentially, it would have been Daredevil Born Again again, essentially. But now it looks like Kevin Feige and the execs have taken a look at what's been shot, saw that it was shit, and decided to get rid of the entire team, which speaks volumes. And they actually put these people's names out too, like embarrassing them, which I thought was a little fucked. But I mean, you make stupid shit, and then
Now, when you say they let the names out, are you talking about the journals or the or Marvel?
no, Marvel, like the actual, like the writers and producers, they said that they parted ways, or how the professionals speak.
Yeah,
End of the
we
day,
went in a different creative direction.
correct. Yeah. End of the day, they were fucking fired. Like, let's be real here. Let's be
Yeah,
real. And yeah, and the streaming director, or the guy in charge of the streaming of the shows, he like came out and said that they really wanna they really want to honor the source material now. So with
I don't believe you.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna, not that it's impossible. You're gonna have to show me. You're gonna have to prove it.
Oh, it's definitely a show me now. Like, there's nothing on good faith anymore. Like, I have to see it with my own eyes.
Yeah,
Because I've fallen for that trap before. So
you can only you can only get bitten by a rabid dog so many times before you're just like, nope.
ex- it's like the whole scorpion and snake, I mean, scorpion and frog. Like,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's still a fucking scorpion. So it's still Disney Marvel at the end of the day, no matter what.
and the problem is, like, as Gary says frequently, from Neurotic, he says, they're skipping over story runs that sold in the millions to go right to the ones that sold in the thousands.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
yeah, if you're being faithful to shitty source material, aka the stuff that Disney produced once they'd already purchased Marvel, then play shit games, win shit prizes.
Play woke games, win woke prizes, for sure.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even mind the shows if they used them as like a building block to introduce a certain character, you know, and then that show really didn't pertain to the event, or maybe it was leading to the event at the end where this character is needed. Maybe it is a limited series because now for example, we're getting introduced to like say they do a hard reboot, or not even a hard reboot. Let's say we're introducing Silver Surfer, right?
Yeah.
We're introducing his character in the mix. maybe he has a limited series, or now we're getting a sense of who he is as a character. And then when we have a movie, we're like, oh yeah, that's fucking Silver Surfer. But that has nothing to do with what we don't have to watch the show. You know, he can still just be in the movie. Does that make
It's
sense?
it should it should be it should be gravy in the sense that if you if you watch it, it fills in the gaps, but there aren't enough gaps where it's like, okay, if I try and drive on this road, I'm gonna like fall into a river. Like
Exactly. Yeah, precise, precisely, precisely.
it
Yeah,
should be beneficial but not mandatory.
correct, correct. If anything, it's just icing. Like that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just icing.
Just icing.
But yeah, I found this article interesting. I'm like a reset. Like clearly, I get the sense that they know what they have done. This beast they've created. It's not working out. Like I am getting that sense, the general vibe, just from I don't know, just even like from what I've read, from what I've watched, from what I've heard, like you're just kind of getting the sense that Marvel, like they know that they like really fucked up from phases 4 and 5. Like,
Like I said, I feel the most interesting part of this article is the fact that they're like the shills aren't going immediately to defense mode. Like they're bringing up the critics, and they aren't being like these people are just, you know, they aren't dismissive in this article. Other people were like, yeah, you done fucked up, you
yeah,
done fucked up.
yeah.
So it makes me wonder. It's like, does Disney not have enough money to pay the shills?
Oof.
Or has Disney just been like, you know what? It's not even worth paying the shills for this shit. We'll save it for the next shit.
Oh
I
man.
I, I don't know, but do you kind of get my point? I hope that it's being coherent ish.
No, no, no. I mean, I completely understand what you're saying. I mean, when you spend $150 million on a TV series, close to 200, $300 million on a TV series, and it's like gets to like the second lowest ratings, Secret Invasion. I mean,
Oh,
that doesn't bode well. You can't really pay the shows at
I,
that.
I actually I will admit that Secret Invasion most likely was a limited series. I'm sorry, WandaVision and Secret Invasion, but
Yeah.
Hawkeye definitely was meant to be for
Yes.
more.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
She
was.
Hulk was definitely meant to do more.
Yeah.
uh, um,
Although I did hear they ended up going in a different direction with the producer gal. I think her name is. I forgot her first name.
I
Apparently,
Chloe Chow, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. I think they are putting her aside and they have a new producer on the show. But I mean, that doesn't mean shit. I mean, fuck all
So
these days.
that's my thing. It's like with those two exceptions, I feel like they were meant to be season one of however many we could squeeze out. Um, but like they're like, oh, no one's watching. Well, we can't admit that we done fucked up. We aren't willing to do that yet. So, oh, it wasn't season one. It was a limited series.
Which is just pathetic because like the Secret Invasion storyline could have been its own phase. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, I don't remember any of the ads mentioning, oh, join us for this limited series.
yeah, I don't recall.
I, I
I
feel
don't
like
remember that either.
I feel like when TV networks actually like when they actually have a limited series, they make sure to let you know this
It's
is
a
going to
limited
be an
series.
event. This is
Yeah,
going to be an event. You can't miss a damn thing because it's a limited series. You're not going to get more after this.
correct. Correct.
And at no point in the marketing did any of them say limited series. So I think that's just face saving. Like,
Uh,
but I mean, you're trying to save your face from a little bit of egg when there's shit all over it. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's like,
I mean, we found out in this article that what Marvel in Secret Invasion they went through like 3 directors or producers just on that show alone. Like people were arguing and there were like there was disruption going on behind the scenes. Like Marvel, like things are chaotic. Like it's a literal shit show over
and
there right now.
yeah, and that was the kind of language that the shows avoided.
Yeah.
They never said, "Oh, it was an argument." It was no. They had creative differences. They 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 wanted to go different directions. Like that's the language they use when they're being paid shills. Now it's like no, there was fights. Like
Yeah.
they did not like each other. You can tell just by the word choice that for whatever reason they aren't pulling their punches as much as they usually do. Whether or not they're pulling their punches at all, but they're definitely it's not nearly as much as usually is.
I mean, and it's not gonna get any better. I mean, Echo's coming out in January. I don't know if you heard about that.
That was the one that was the one that they basically they wanted to shit can, but it was already done.
It
So
was
they're like,
already
oh, we'll just release it all in one shot.
yep, they're gonna release it all in one shot. Yeah.
They're gonna go the Netflix model for the. It's the only show they're doing that with. It's like,
Yep. The
what
only
does
show
that tell you about that?
that exactly that should speak volumes in and of itself. I'm pretty sure Ironheart got delayed till 2025. I think they're just gonna keep delaying that shit.
I I think
Nobody
they're gonna
nobody wants that show.
I think they're gonna keep delaying it until they finally hit the point where they're like, okay, we can admit that we done fucked up,
Hmm.
or it's going to be like it's going to be the Ryan Johnson trilogy of Marvel. Oh, it's coming. Don't worry about it. Oh, he's
It's on
definitely
the way.
we're still in talks. It's like remember when Disney wanted to do like one Star Wars movie a year, and it's been what since 2019
Correct.
since we've had anything theatrically in for Disney. It's like for Star Wars.
I'm Ray Skywalker.
Keep the Skywalker name out your fucking mouth.
Oh man, no, I hear you. I hear you, man.
But I mean, like that's the kind of copium I feel like they're dealing with now. It's like, oh, Ironheart's on the way. We promise.
Yeah, if they were smart, they would just straight backgirl that shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
X rail.
You know, they're probably waiting the 2 years for like the two people who are actually looking forward to that show to forget it exists, and then they're gonna be like,
I'm not gonna lie, I always forget about it until I like hear a streamer and they're like, "Oh yeah, Ironheart," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing." Like that and Agatha Harkness, like or whatever her fucking name is, like her
yeah,
own show. Like, why did she have a show too? Like, what is?
I
Oh
don't, I
man,
don't know, man. I do
I,
not know.
yeah, I think they're gonna keep delaying that too. Like, just don't release them, Marvel. Just shelf them.
Just, just take the L.
Yeah,
You know what? We done fucked up. You're almost there. You're almost there. You're really close to just saying we done fucked up. We're sorry. Give us one more chance.
yeah, you're like teetering now. Like, just you're like starting to. It's starting to become. You're starting to become self aware at this point. I think they're starting to realize as well that like people aren't just going to eat Marvel product because it's a Marvel product. Like before, they could put out Marvel product and it could be okay or not that great, but people are still going to consume Marvel product because it's Marvel, right? I don't think that name carries much weight as it once did. So,
Goodwill alone will eventually run out.
yes.
If that's all you're banking on is goodwill, eventually your supply, no matter how big it started out, is going to burn. And you know what? Every time you burn goodwill, it burns faster than the previous time. You burn more of it.
It surely does. It surely does.
Because it's like the first time, it's like, oh, you know, they screwed up the one time, but you know what? They've still got a good track record. But they don't forget that they done fucked up that first time. So when they screw up again, it's like, okay, once is coincidence, twice is happenstance, three times is enemy action. Like like
Uh,
three times is a pattern. Like once after a while, it's like yeah, maybe something changed and they're just coasting now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you burn your audience too many times, and
And
you
you tell them it's not made for them,
yeah, yeah.
or
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 I
you
don't want
know
to hear your opinions,
you're not a real fan if you don't like it.
or
Um,
like the She-Hulk producer turned the fans into the villains. Like,
yeah, and they knew that that's the criticism they were going to get. It's like
exactly.
if you knew that that was the criticism you were going to get, especially since it was entirely valid, write better shit.
No, it's all about them. It's all about how they feel, what they want. They don't want to
I
do research.
I think that we need to start to give them the Dark Souls treatment. Hashtag get good.
Oh man.
Like I kind of wish that that was their philosophy. It's like no, I wish they were those guys. Like no, we're gonna keep the bar high. If you want to jump, if you want to jump over it, learn how to jump.
Correct. Figure that shit out. Oh man. Jesus wept. Well, sir, do you have anything else to provide?
Um, it doesn't look like disability representation is going to do all that well in the next couple of shows.
It doesn't look that way. It doesn't look that way. Oh man, oh yeah, it's Loki now. That's the show that's out now. So apparently at the end of the season there's going to be a big cataclysmic event that changes, you know, the
Everything and yet nothing.
yeah, which happened in the first season. So I guess we're just going to keep getting cataclysmic events that change everything yet nothing. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they do things that have huge. Like if you actually thought it through, you actually plotted it out, would have huge implications. But they just fucking ignore it. Outside, like don't have huge cataclysmic shit happen in one TV show in a supposedly shared universe, and then have no one even vaguely acknowledge that the shit is going on in another show. If you're going to be a shared universe, act like a shared universe,
correct. Correct.
or have the stories small enough so that they wouldn't inherently affect. Like the opening of the multiverse should affect everything in Marvel, and they've just done lip service to it.
Oh man.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess only time will tell. We shall see. We shall see how things unfold. We shall see. But yeah, we thank you guys for tuning in. We do ask that you smash that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you guys think. Share this video out there. Hit that bell for notifications, and you guys take care.
Bye, everybody.